All right, so we got a really interesting one this time.
Yeah, this one's going to be good.
You guys sent in Under the Udala Trees.
By Chinelo Okparanta.
Okparanta, yeah. And this one is set during
The Biafran War.
the Biafran War, a really brutal civil war in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
That raged from 1967 to 1970.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to take a deep dive into the life of Ijeoma,
A young girl.
a young girl caught right in the middle of it all.
Yeah, right in the thick of it.
So right away,
Right from the first line.
Okparanta throws you right into the story.
Oh, yeah, she doesn't waste any time.
With the line, "If I had not met Amina, who knows, there might be no story at all to tell."
Wow, yeah, that's powerful.
Like, boom, this Amina person's going to be huge.
Right. Like, immediately you know she's important.
And from there, we're in 1968,
On a Sunday,
a Sunday full of tension. Air raids are looming.
you can just feel the fear.
You can practically feel the fear in the air.
Yeah, just this sense of dread.
And I think that
It's like a theme.
that sense of helplessness
Yeah, of forces beyond your control.
is a key theme throughout the novel.
It really is.
And we see it early on with Ijeoma's father.
Who's a newsreader.
Yeah, he's a newsreader who calmly discusses the war with her.
Even as he acknowledges the danger.
Yeah, there's this acceptance.
This feeling of inevitability.
It's chilling.
Totally, it sends chills down your spine.
It's like he knows there's nothing he can do to stop what's coming,
Mm-hmm.
and then the sirens hit.
The air raid sirens.
Yeah, and Okparanta's writing is so vivid
Oh, she's so good.
that you're right there with Ijeoma
Right.
and her mother
Scrambling for safety.
in the bunker.
Yeah.
And I think the image of the father refusing to move,
Stubborn.
stubborn as a tower of hardened cement,
Oh, that's such a powerful image.
it's just wow.
It really is.
And I think
in
it's
metaphor.
such a powerful metaphor for the impact of war.
The psychological impact.
Yeah.
That paralysis, surrendering to fate.
And then when they return and find him dead,
Oh, it's just horror.
it's palpable.
Okparanta uses such visceral descriptions.
Oh, she's a master of that.
Like that musty metallic scent.
Ugh. It's like you're there.
You're transported to that moment.
It's gut-wrenching.
It is.
And then to see Ijeoma's mother dealing with her grief by pushing it down.
Trying to stay strong.
Yeah, and focusing on practical things.
Like making sure Ijeoma eats protein.
Protein for her brain.
It's like the war has forced her to shut off her emotions.
Yeah, just to survive.
A survival mechanism.
And this is all magnified when they're displaced to Abba.
Where the devastation is even worse.
And they're adrift. Their lives are shattered.
Their future is uncertain.
And it's like a reflection.
Of the larger displacement caused by the war.
Yeah.
So many people lost everything.
So in the middle of all this chaos,
And heartbreak.
Ijeoma meets Amina.
While waiting in line for kerosene.
Kerosene. Can you imagine?
Having your life upended for basic necessities.
It's wild.
But it speaks to Okparanta's skill as a writer.
Yeah.
That even in the darkest moments
She finds these glimmers of humanity.
of connection.
And Amina is Hausa.
And Ijeoma is Igbo.
And remember,
These are rival ethnic groups,
during the war,
so their connection is forbidden.
their blossoming love.
A transgression of societal norms.
Talk about a recipe for conflict.
Right.
We have the external conflict of the war,
Raging all around them.
and then this internal conflict of forbidden love.
Bubbling up inside.
It's a powerful parallel.
Absolutely.
And then things get even more complicated.
When Ijeoma's mother returns,
And finds out about Amina.
her disapproval is immediate
Oh, yeah.
and fierce.
Fueled by wartime prejudices.
And her devout religious beliefs.
And this is where I think the novel really digs into the weight of tradition and religion.
Mm-hmm.
We see Ijeoma's mother pushing her into intense Bible study
Focusing on those verses that condemn same-sex relationships.
as abominations.
It's about pressure.
Ijeoma is caught between her heart and what she's being told is the word of God.
And it's fascinating how Okparanta uses those Bible study sessions.
To expose the selective interpretation of religious texts.
It makes you wonder,
How often are beliefs used to justify personal prejudices?
rather than promoting compassion and understanding.
It's something for all of us to think about.
Right.
What truths have we accepted without questioning?
It's a great point.
And then, boom,
Ijeoma and Amina are discovered.
ripped apart.
And Ijeoma's shipped off to a new school.
It's like another layer of her world is collapsing.
This forced separation.
Is a turning point.
It's symbolic of the war itself,
How it tears people apart.
leaving lasting scars.
The war may be ending, but Ijeoma's internal struggle is just beginning.
She's left to deal with the aftermath,
Of both personal and societal trauma.
questioning everything she thought she knew.
About love
Abe?
and her own identity.
It's a lot for a young girl to carry. It's tough. The war is over.
Right.
But the battle within Ijeoma continues.
Yeah.
We see how the conflict has shaped both her and Amina.
Right.
Amina, facing the weight of societal expectations, chooses to marry a Hausa man.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
It really is.
Like she's given up
Yeah.
on the possibility of a life with Ijeoma.
It seems like
Resigned to a path dictated by tradition.
and societal norms.
It makes you wonder, how much of ourselves do we sacrifice
Just to fit in.
to fit in?
Yeah. It's a question that resonates throughout the novel.
I think so too.
Amina's choice highlights the enduring power of societal pressures.
Even in the aftermath of such a devastating war.
Yeah. It's like the war might be over,
Right.
but the battle for personal freedom continues.
Yeah, and Ijeoma,
Finds herself
drawn to Ndidi.
another school friend.
Yeah, it rekindles those feelings
Those forbidden desires.
that have been buried under the weight of the war and societal condemnation.
It's almost like a reawakening for Ijeoma. The
Right.
war forced her into a kind of emotional hibernation, and now in this fragile peace, her true self is starting to emerge.
But it's dangerous.
Oh, absolutely.
Those desires are still so deep.
Remember, we're in a society where same-sex relationships are not just frowned upon.
They're considered an abomination.
Exactly.
And that's where the Friend in Jesus Church of God comes in.
The secret haven.
For women like Ijeoma and Ndidi.
A place where they can explore their feelings.
Without fear of persecution.
Okparanta doesn't explicitly state this,
Right.
but it's implied that these women are seeking a connection with God.
That acknowledges their true selves.
Not the versions society tries to impose on them.
It's like this hidden world.
A tiny pocket of acceptance.
It's a society that's determined to erase them.
There
And to
you-
make matters even worse.
The church is burned down.
It's terrifying.
A reminder of the very real dangers they face.
The constant threat of violence.
That hangs over their heads.
So symbolic.
The burning of the church.
On so many levels.
It represents the fragility of their haven.
The ever-present threat of intolerance and hatred.
It's chilling.
A reminder of how quickly safety can be shattered.
Yeah.
It's a gut punch. But even in the face of this horrific act,
Ijeoma and Ndidi,
refuse to be silenced.
they cling to each other.
To their love.
Their hope for a future where they can live freely.
This is inspiring.
Their resilience.
Yeah, it speaks to the power of love.
To transcend fear.
To fuel resistance.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there's always hope.
But let's not forget Ijeoma's mother.
A constant presence.
Pushing her towards a normal life.
A life that includes marriage to a man.
The pressure is relentless.
It is.
And eventually, Ijeoma buckles.
She marries Chibundu.
Hoping to find peace.
To escape the constant judgment.
And fear.
It's a decision born out of exhaustion.
A desperate attempt to conform.
But it's a facade.
A band-aid over a deep wound.
Ijeoma's true self is still there.
Simmering beneath the surface.
And this is where the novel
Explores the complexities of marriage.
and motherhood.
Ijeoma gives birth to a daughter.
Chidinma,
But Chibundu yearns for a son.
adding another layer of pressure.
He sees a male heir as essential.
As validation.
A guarantee of his legacy.
It's a stark reminder of the patriarchal structures,
That confine women.
especially in that time and place.
It's like Ijeoma's value is tied to her ability to produce a son.
To fulfill societal expectations.
And this pressure,
Yeah.
this constant feeling of being trapped.
It's a toll on Ijeoma,
She's living a lie.
trying to be someone she's not.
And it's slowly destroying her.
And then
Chibundu finds Ijeoma's letters.
to Ndidi,
All those bottled up emotions.
those secret longings.
Suddenly exposed.
The climax.
A moment of truth that can't be ignored.
It shatters the fragile peace Ijeoma has constructed.
Forcing her to confront the consequences.
Of her choices.
And for Chibundu, it's a devastating betrayal.
A confirmation of his deepest fears.
A marriage imploding.
A life built on lies crumbling before our eyes.
So how does Ijeoma pick up the pieces?
What happens next?
Well, that's what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
We'll see how this pivotal moment leads Ijeoma to a reckoning.
A journey of self-discovery. And ultimately, a glimmer of hope.
For a future where she can finally be free.
When we left off, Ijeoma's world had just kind of blown up.
Yeah, Chibundu found those letters to Ndidi.
And it was like a dam breaking.
It really was.
All those years of holding everything in,
Suppressing those desires.
trying to fit into this mold that just didn't fit.
It all came pouring out.
And it leads Ijeoma to a huge decision.
She leaves Shibundu,
Taking Chidinma with her,
seeking refuge with her mother,
but carrying all that weight
of her shattered marriage.
and all that uncertainty of the future.
And it's here that we see those Udala trees again.
Yeah, they're everywhere in this book.
Throughout the whole novel.
They offer shade and fruit.
But they also have those thorns.
Yeah, a reminder of the duality of life.
The sweetness and the pain.
And I think they represent,
urban confinement.
just like the traditions and expectations that have shaped Ijeoma's life.
It makes you think about the things we cling to.
For security.
And how those same things can also hold us back.
And there's that scene where Ijeoma dreams of Chidinma under the Udala tree.
Reading from her father's Bible.
It's haunting.
Almost prophetic.
Like a foreshadowing of the choices Chidinma might have to make.
And the cycles that could repeat themselves.
Speaking of cycles.
That folk tale about Chikwendu.
And his dog.
The villagers choose to save the dog over the boy.
Prioritizing tradition over human life.
It's a parallel to how society so often prioritizes conformity.
Over individual happiness.
Even at the cost of suffering.
It makes you think about the things we hold sacred.
And how sometimes they can actually be harmful.
You have to question everything.
Ijeoma is starting to see the cracks in her upbringing.
Yeah, she's questioning those rigid interpretations of the Bible.
That her mother instilled in her.
Searching for a more compassionate understanding of faith.
A more inclusive one.
She's on a journey.
Of self-discovery.
Trying to balance her desires with the expectations of her world.
And she has indeed.
Yeah, their reunion offers hope.
The possibility of building a life together.
Based on love and acceptance.
But even their love is dangerous.
Remember, this is a society where same-sex relationships are condemned.
Violently rejected.
The burning of that church is a constant reminder.
It highlights how fragile their haven is.
And the threat they live under.
But they refuse to be silenced.
It's like that violence backfires.
It fuels their determination.
To fight for a world where love can exist freely.
Without shame or fear.
It's powerful.
Their resilience speaks volumes.
To the human spirit.
To the strength of love in the face of adversity.
It echoes Ijeoma's own journey.
Her refusal to be defined by those limitations.
And her evolving understanding of the Bible is key.
She's moving beyond those rigid interpretations.
Embracing a more expansive view of faith.
One that allows for love and acceptance.
In all its forms.
It's a beautiful transformation.
It shows that faith can be liberating.
Not just a tool for control and condemnation.
And it allows her to envision a different future.
A town where love is celebrated.
Not criminalized.
That vision is what gives the novel its impact.
It's a reminder that even in darkness, hope endures.
It inspires us to challenge the status quo.
To fight for equality.
And to create a world where everyone can live authentically.
Without fear.
The ending doesn't tie everything up neatly.
But it leaves you with this sense of cautious optimism.
Ijeoma is moving forward.
Carrying the weight of her past.
But also embracing the possibility of a brighter future.
Healing takes time.
And progress can be slow.
But the fight for justice and equality is always worth it.
This novel is an exploration of love, loss, and resilience.
And the complexities of faith and identity in a world that's always trying to define us.
We hope this deep dive has encouraged you to revisit Under the Udala Trees.
To think about the questions it raises.
And to reflect on the world we live in.
And the world we want to create.
So until next time.
Keep questioning.
Keep exploring.
And keep diving deep to